Hello you all and welcome back to Living Unveiled with Maddie. Let me start the session with a story about a young bride who sat dressed for her wedding. Everything about her looked right, her clothes, her appearance, the celebration around her. Earlier that day, they had been singing, laughter and excitement. She had been congratulated, admired and affirmed. But when the groom arrived, something became clear. She looked ready, but she was not prepared. And in that moment, what should have been joy became exposure. Because appearance can carry you only so far. Preparation is what sustains you when the moment actually comes. I remember growing up, there was something we used to hear that sounded almost like a warning. They would say, if a Calabar woman sets her eyes on your man, just prepare yourself. That man ain't coming back. And as young girls, we laughed, but we also wondered, what exactly is going on there? What kind of preparation produces that level of confidence? Unfortunately, nobody really explained it. It just carried this quiet reputation that there is a level of preparation happening somewhere that produces a different kind of woman. And the truth is, there is. Because in Calabar, in the southern part of Nigeria, along the Cross River region, there's a traditional practice known as the fattening room. This is not symbolic, it is structured, it is intentional and it is detailed. Because before a woman is given out in marriage, she is removed from normal life and placed in a controlled environment for preparation. Not for a day or casually, sometimes for weeks, and this sometimes can run into months. She is secluded, her movement is limited, her environment is controlled. Older women, those who understand that marriage is beyond theory, take responsibility for her formation. And they do not teach lightly. They teach in layers. She's taught how to sit with composure, how to speak with respect, how to respond without reacting. She's trained on how to manage a home, how to host, how to cook, not just meal, but timing, coordination and care. She's corrected repeatedly. Her body is also prepared. She's fed intentionally, massaged with oils. Her skin is treated. Her posture is adjusted. Attention is given to how she cares for herself and how she presents herself. Also how she maintains herself. Nothing is assumed, but the deeper work is internal. She's taught patience when things are not going her way. She's taught restraint when emotions rise. She's taught respect, endurance, and discernment. Because in that culture, marriage is not something you attend. It is something you are prepared to sustain. And no one is released into it without evidence of preparation. And let's bring this into perspective. Everyone is saying everywhere here, I turn here, Jesus is coming. It is repeated everywhere in sermons, in songs, in conversations. But ask yourself a question. How many of us are actually preparing? Because even in natural life, weddings do not happen without a process. There is courtship. You learn about the person, you study their ways, you understand what matters to them, what they expect, and how they think. So you adjust and you align. No one enters into a serious marriage without that process and expects it to work. Yet, many of us are expecting Christ without preparation, without getting to know Him, fully understanding His nature, without aligning our lives to His ways. Now, Jesus tells a story in Matthew 25 about 10 virgins. I love this proverb because it is heavy. They were all waiting, they were all expectant, all positioned for the same groom. They were not outsiders, they were all there, but only 5 were ready. The difference was not where they stood, it was what they carried. All had lamps, all had appearance, and all looked like they belonged. But only 5 had oil, and oil is not something you gather in urgency. Listen, oil comes from process. It is built over time through consistency, discipline, private moments that no one sees. It comes from a life that is being formed, not just performed. And this is where We are missing it today because preparation has been replaced with participation. So people are around spiritual things, but are not being shaped by them. They attend, they serve, they speak the language, but there's no depth, no oil. Listen, you can be present and still be empty. And then in that parable, the moment came. At midnight, a cry was heard. The bridegroom is coming. Not planned, not convenient. And suddenly, everything hidden became visible. Those who were prepared responded immediately, and those who assumed began to scramble. Because when the moment comes, there are things that cannot be transferred. Listen, again, oil cannot be borrowed, depth cannot be rushed, relationship cannot be built instantly. The ones who were not ready realized it only too late. They had proximity but not preparation. And when they returned, the door was shut. Not because they were strangers to the environment, but because there was no relationship. The fattening room understood something many are ignoring today. You did not wait for that day to come to begin preparation. You prepare before the day comes. You step away, you submit to process, you allow yourself to be shaped intentionally and consistently, so that when that moment arrives, you are not trying to become ready. You already are. I'm not trying to put fear into you. I'm only being honest. Because if Christ truly is coming, then preparation should be in full gear and evident, not just in words, but in how you live. So the question is direct. You say you are waiting for him, but are you actually preparing for him? Because when that moment arrives, it will not reward intention. Rather, it will reveal preparation. Until next time, stay unveiled.